Hey everyone, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle Corzaudinu, and I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, and channeler who loves to bridge the gap between the unseen world of spirit, consciousness, energy, and intuition so it can apply to your everyday human experience. Today's video is an energy update for September 2023. And I will be going over energetic themes and any wisdom that wants to come through for you so that you can relax and enjoy your expansions, or try to enjoy them. So if you like these videos, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, let's go ahead and review August and what was happening energetically in August before we move into September. So in August, there was a pretty big energy of reevaluating things, reevaluating our values in just about any area of your life. This brought up a lot of relationship growth periods, a lot of updates in our relationships with ourselves, with other people. It could have brought up dynamics that revealed where you still may be showing up in an immature way, behaving in an immature way, whether that was emotional or spiritual or on some other level. And it could also have brought up dynamics or tendencies or patterns of fighting or anger or conflict that could have given you the opportunity to change some of those patterns, and instead of fighting or efforting for what you want, changing that to more of being able to think creatively, find solutions, open up to receiving more, having what you need or want, approaching things in a different way. One of the growth periods that I was, looking at recently as I'm filming this video has to do with really natural cycles of death. And this, we could see some good examples of that in August when there was numerous natural disasters kind of happening around the world. A lot of fires, for Hawaii, we had a fire in Maui, which was devastating. But I wanted to mention that this is a collective growth period that is kind of going to be ongoing. There's a very high percentage that we're going to continue to see natural cycles of death on the planet, where natural disasters happen, disease happen, pandemics happen, other natural accidents happening that kind of wipe out groups of people. And I just wanted to mention that is probably going to be a new normal for a while. And that is because energetically the planet is changing so fast, and there's a lot of light and a lot of consciousness kind of coming in on the planet now. And it is causing people to go into these more intense growth periods or faster releases. Which means some people are just purging energy right now. They're just dumping energy. They're going through major rebalancing. They're going through lots of changes in their bodies energetically. Now, some people can really have that. They're here for it. They want that experience. They signed up for it, and so, it might be a wild ride for them energetically, but that's what they're here for, and it's a part of their life purpose or their life path, for them to have that evolutionary experience. But for other souls on the planet, it is not what they're here for. They're not built for it. They didn't come here for that. They're having a hard time coping with that, dealing with that. It's completely destabilizing. It's driving them mad. Their bodies can't handle it. So for these people, they may be hitting the exit button right now, kind of getting on the goodbye train to leave planet Earth. And so a lot of these natural disasters, a lot of these accidents, illnesses, disease that are kind of naturally coming up on the planet right now are acting as a way to kind of collect up some people and allow them to move on. So on a human level, on a social level, it can be disturbing, devastating, frightening, scary, upsetting, triggering, angering to see all of these natural changes happening and how they're affecting people, and even how they can be mishandled, and how we can feel helpless watching people suffer. Okay, so I definitely want to acknowledge that. And also on another level, we can also acknowledge that, it can be seen as a natural event to help people leave when they want to leave, and that they have served their purpose, and we can celebrate that they have served their purpose, and um, you know, um, be in some spiritual clarity about that, some energetic clarity about that, instead of dipping into some of the heavier energies that tend to get stirred up around these experiences. So I wanted to mention that. One of the themes I'm seeing in September are kind of this inquisitive, or the need for the mind to have a distraction, probably like a conscious distraction. So for some people, that might look like having a book that your mind can read, having information that your mind can absorb, giving your mind something to do, giving your mind something to learn. It could be like, it doesn't have to be educational. It could be like, oh, your mind reads a fantasy book or a romance novel, or your mind, is learning a new craft, or something like that. But for some people, it might be that you need to read information about something, that interests you, or educate yourself more. But there is a need for the mind to have a conscious distraction. So as far as the mental energies go, we may be seeing an increase in people that have mental stress, mental tension. People might be going a little bit crazy or mad, kind of hitting a breaking point in their lives. Anything from like shutting down and feeling sad and depressed, to having more anxiety, to having stress. And this is basically a sign, like if you start experiencing this, that you may be going through one of these energetic updates, where you need to not just allow the energy to change, but also practice relaxing your mind, giving it something to do, and actively connect with what is not working for you, and how you can modify or change that or update that in your life. A part of the theme in September is for our masculine energy to kind of relax and practice, our magic a little bit more, or receiving a little bit more. What it reminds me of is in those Harry Potter movies, when those wizards are sitting at a table and they're drinking their coffee and they're reading a book, and then they have that spoon that's just stirring their coffee for them, while they're reading. They don't even have to stir their own coffee. That spoon is just moving in cycles, in circles in their cup for them. This is a little bit of what the energies of September remind me of. Like, once we get something started with our masculine energy, it's almost like we can relax and allow the energy to start serving us on its own. We don't have to constantly be micromanaging our actions. We don't have to constantly be efforting in our actions. Once we get something going, it can kind of continue on its own. And that's kind of one of the messages kind of coming through for September, one of the energetic themes. Like, where can you relax your masculine energy from overdoing, overthinking, over planning, over micromanaging, over efforting, trying to handle everything? And where can you actually relax and allow your energy to just serve you and nourish you and support you in ways that maybe your mind doesn't understand, like magic. Magic can happen so spontaneously. It can happen out of nowhere. It can happen beyond what our mind understands. In fact, our mind does not understand magic. And that is like the feminine energy. It's like, it happens outside the mind. It's intuitive, it's spontaneous, it's chaotic sometimes, it's, vast, it's huge, it's bigger than us, And so, yeah, like I really see the need to practice that, to really put that into practice. Now, overall in September, I do feel some different layers. And one layer is about what nourishes us. Are we getting enough? I see that we may be going through cycles in our lives where we are going to, again, be reviewing. There's going to be a lot of this review energy and internal energy happening in September, where we might not be locked into our outer worlds in September. We might be a lot more internal, or reviewing things internally, or reflecting on things internally. And some of the things we might be reviewing are related to our health, maybe our emotional health, maybe our physical health, but things that sustain us, things that nurture us, things that comfort us, or ways that we love ourselves, ways, all this might be going through a little bit of a review, where we might be seeing like, this isn't exactly how I like to be nourished. This isn't enough of what I need to be nourished. This isn't aligned with me anymore. And it's not no longer nourishing me. This needs an update. Okay, so there's a lot of updating going on energetically, in August and in September. Is just a lot of this reviewing is asking us to update how we do things. It's not necessarily wiping things out, or it's not like destroying everything and we have to create something new. For some people, that's what they're experiencing. But for most people, it's an update. It's a chance. It's kind of like remodeling your house. You're not going to get rid of the house. You're just going to improve it. You're just going to bring it up to code, or bring it up to your new style. Make it more modern. So that's what I mean about updating energetically. We're updating our information that we operate off of. We're updating our spiritual agreements with each other. We are, opening up to a new way of operating. And in general, there is a tone. There's another layer of how we help or serve other people in our lives, how we serve ourselves. There's a strong energy of service to others coming in September, and it may just be a review that you're doing with your social group, with your family, with your friends, with maybe even with your spouse, or partners. It just seems like where can you update things? Where are you being of service to others, but maybe you're not getting the full benefit back, or where are others, taking advantage, or not, there's definitely like, are there energetic leaks going on? Are you really giving your energy to other people in a way that works for you? And that might be reviewed. Is it affecting you emotionally, mentally, physically? How can you update that? How can you still be of service to others, help others, be of help to the earth, the planet, the work that you do, your purpose here? How do you serve your purpose in a way that works for you? Another beautiful theme that I wanted to talk about was, there's a beautiful intuitive energy in September of connecting with information, or realizing information that allows you to open up to something bigger. It's kind of like if you received like a small crystal, like an amethyst crystal, and then all of a sudden you realize that crystal is from a huge crystal that's like the size of your room. It's like this small piece of something so much bigger. And intuitively, I really feel people kind of on a feminine level tapping into something small, or a piece of something that's related to something bigger in their lives, and it feels like it might be insightful. It might answer questions. It might give guidance. It might help you understand like where you're going or where you've come from. But it does seem to open you up to something much bigger. It's like you tap into something that helps you open up to something more bigger, or it helps you realize your potential, or it helps to bring you like a message of hope about what you're working towards or what you're building or what you're creating that's bigger than you. You know, this intuitive information could be reassuring, it could be insightful, it could be sentimental, could be hopeful, could be even light or playful. But I do notice that it may prompt you to ask yourself some questions. Like, if you somehow get information that says, oh, here's a little bit of information about what's coming for you, and what's coming for you is something really big, and are you ready for it? Are you prepared for it? Are you doing what you need to do for that? You know, so it might be a good question to ask yourself, am I taking the practical steps that I need to take in order to create this big thing, you know, that is emerging for me? You know, am I willing to have a routine, build some structure, be consistent, you know, show up every day and for a few hours to do something? Am I going to harness it, you know, in the physical? Because we can get really intuitive and caught up in the beautiful insights and the beautiful information and feel the potentials, and you know, it can be really easy to just stay spiritual, you know, but to embody it, to bring it into the physical, to take that big thing, that big potential that's kind of looming right there, and to make it real, you know, it does require you to show up. You know, even if it's just intuitively, you know, it's just like intuitively you have those growth periods that help take you from A to Z. You know, intuitively you might have creative bursts or creative cycles or different shifts in your creative flow that help you create something, you know, over time. So are you tuned into that? Are you showing up for that? Are you taking the practical steps for that? Are you grounding that? Are you embodying that? Are you making it real? That might be a question that comes up for you in September, and it may prompt you to add something to your routine, to create a routine, or make some structure that helps support you embody kind of something much bigger that you're creating. I will say that there is quite a lot of clarity coming through in September, which can be great. I mean, it can be great for a lot of people to have clarity. It can also be, it doesn't seem like that kind of clarity that can be a little bit jolting or even painful or harsh, you know, at times. It seems like the kind of clarity that helps guide you in the direction that you need to go, you know, and that's the kind of clarity that I see. And, you know, I do see some people in the collective, you know, going in a direction in which they feel called by their soul. You know, they have some clarity that's leading them in a certain direction. It still seems like a broad direction, but they're going in that direction. And they are, you know, there's a kind of a tone in the air to be willing to be adaptable, willing to, you know, not just use your creative energy, but also take the steps that you need, like ground things in your life, embody the steps. You know, it's using both spirit and body to, you know, create what you want and go in the direction that you're called to go in. It's also asking us to be transformative, like allow ourselves to transform, allow ourselves to adapt, allow ourselves to be sensitive, allow ourselves to be sensitive to energetic shifts in your energy, you know, sensitive to energetic changes and what that might be communicating to you in your energy. Being very sensitive is coming up in September, but not the type of sensitivity that I feel kind of like emotionally. more like sensitivity related to your knowingness. Like you might feel something shift or the energy changes, and you might kind of have a knowingness about you needing to adapt to a certain situation based on that kind of shift in energy. Okay, so be aware of that. Be sensitive to that. Because there is kind of like an overall direction in September that's pretty straightforward, but it does have some twists and turns to it, and it could happen kind of fast. And so it is going to be to your benefit to be sensitive to the energies around you, so that when something starts to twist or turn energetically in your experience, on your path, with what you're creating, with how your life is going, that you're able to really adapt to that. Now, overall, I do sense that for these people that may be going in a certain direction, feeling called in a certain direction, these people are, kind of gearing up, I don't know the word to use for it, getting ready, preparing for, possibly taking a leap at some point in their life. It's kind of like, it's like I get that totem of like a frog. Frogs are adaptable, they're transformative, they're sensitive, and they can take big leaps, and so they usually represent new beginnings as well. So there may be something beginning in your life that's calling you, and it may require you to take a leap of faith, or a leap in general, or just take a bigger step or a quantum leap in some way. And it does require you to be adaptable. It does require you to transform. It does require you to be sensitive to your environment. Last thing that I'll mention about September is an overall growth period that I see in September. And this is more about mass consciousness. So it may or may not apply to those of you watching the video, depending on how well you're able to disconnect from mass consciousness and what they're going through. But generally, I do see some pretty big energetic storms in mass consciousness that may kind of be this like heavy, invalidating, kind of doubtful energy. And it's kind of like that storm of like things being ripped out of your life, suddenly, missing a huge chunk of what you need in order to create what you want. And I just want to remind people that the planet is going through kind of like a great awakening, and so a part of awakening on a personal level, when I went through it like 20 years ago, was that, there could be things that spontaneously happen that just change your whole life all at once. It almost feels like things get ripped out of your life, like health problems, or, relationships get ripped out of your life, or you move to a totally new location, or, you just kind of get whipped around. Things are just kind of taken, and it's something much bigger than you that does it. It's so totally outside of your control. And so I do see kind of energetic storms relating to these experiences happening on a massive level, where, things much bigger outside of the control of the people kind of suddenly get ripped away, and people are kind of freaking out, invalidating their ability to create what they want, doubting their safety, doubting their ability to be a creator, feeling maybe victimized. And so it's kind of a heavier energy. If you are matching that energy, you might feel tired or drained or sleepy or exhausted or fatigued. So if that starts to happen to you, you might want to look at your energy, do some energy management, and just clear where you have a good solid match to that energy from your space, so that you can, feel energized. In general, that could help people shut down and take a break and take a rest and slow down. I do ultimately see kind of the need to relax in September, and so in some ways, if you don't relax, you might be forced to relax and take a break. And so I do see that need to kind of take a breather, at least with masculine energy. I do see that need to just like really take a rest and relax. So let's pull some cards and see if there's any other insights that want to come through, any other wisdom. All right. We get the King of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles reversed. So King of Pentacles is a very, it's kind of an energy that, sorry, I'm getting the message like as I'm trying to talk about it. So I'm just like pausing for a moment to like receive it. You know, there is a beautiful quality that I feel can be harnessed in September. And it's this kind of grounded, practical, providing energy. And it's not just about providing for yourself, it's also about providing for others. And this is a long-term experience. This is something that, it's like building a legacy. You know, it's like something that starts and something that builds over time. And the need for patience for that, the need to be willing to show up for that, to be consistent with that. And this card in general is very abundant. You know, it's where you kind of come to that satisfaction of having it all and being able to share it with others. And that's ultimately, you know, maybe what a lot of people desire, not just creating their dreams, but being able to share it with others. And then we have this Seven of Pentacles reversed, which is kind of a card that says, you know, keep going, you're growing something, you're creating something, you're nurturing something, you're putting in the work to cultivate something. And, you know, you might not totally see the fruit of that yet, but keep going because it's working, it's happening, you're building it, you're growing it. You know, it might take some more time, but keep going, right? And so when we see this, you know, reversed, I'm getting that energy of like, it's kind of like a breached baby, you know, before birth, or like a baby that's, you know, not in the right, it's something that's not going the way that's planned to go, you know, in a way it's, it might lead to an ending of some kind, you know, of where you might stop giving your energy to something. You know, it might be like a failed attempt, you know, and that's what I'm kind of picking that up, like a failed attempt, or, you know, something was attempted to be birthed or attempted to be grown, and it seems like there's a failure energy around it, or a block kind of energy around it. But there is kind of like an overall message of like, you know, along the path, there may be twists and turns, and there may be things that don't work out. And regardless of whether they work out or not, keep going, because you are overall on this trajectory of creating and, you know, having everything that you want, to being abundant and being able to not just have it for yourself, but share it with other people as well. So don't let these, like, you know, moments where you feel like something has failed or something hasn't worked or something has to be modified or adjusted in more ways for it to work, slow you down. Don't let, there is like drill machine going on right now. Don't let it slow you down. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out a lot, and I hope you guys have a wonderful September. Take care.